you follow no wind. Getting deeper in the frame. I see your face, I feel your pain, but you chose the path I follow. I'm in love with the way that you hold me when I fall back down. And I'm in love with the words from your voice that pull me off the ground now. This love's been a long time coming. My breath slows but my heart keeps running. I'm so fed up of the lies that my heart believed in, but staring deep into your eyes makes it all forgiven. I feel my comfort will be blown, my fears will grow out of control. Yeah, you still want the path I follow anyways. I'm in love with the way that you hold me when I fall back down. And I'm in love with the words from your voice that pull me off the ground now. This love's been a long time coming. My breath slows but my heart keeps running. I'm in love with the way that you hold me when I fall back down.
Hello everyone, welcome to round number 10 in Hockenheim, Germany. And it's going to be a lot of fun today because it's Tier 1, the Sunday race, of course, that you always love to see. So I'm joined by Milo Gaming. How's it going?
Not too bad, thank you. Going out with a bang today, hopefully. Hockenheim. It's going to be a circuit that we miss dearly from the Formula 1 calendar if it doesn't return this year. Let's hope it's a good one.
Let's hope so. Talk about the Tier 3 and Tier 2 race. Oh my god. I cannot describe how insanely crazy those two races were. The battle for the podium, Luke B took his first podium, Patriot won the race. Some battles throughout the midfield, GSR Bianchi, P20 to P5. A great charge to the field, but we saw another great charge to the field from three other drivers, you being one of them, yesterday. The battle for the win, though, Hamilton beating out Kagoda. There was three drivers who beat out Kagoda for their first win. And it was Adam Fab at Spain. You had as well beat Nick in Singapore, and now you have GSR Hamilton for his first win, beating out Kagoda from P18 on the grid, the lowest someone has ever won on the grid. Oh my god, and the charges to the field in general. You did the podium, and it was P19 to P3 after bad quali, and Utah Elephant as well, P20 to P6. So great runs by you guys charging through the field.
Yeah, obviously, I couldn't be any happier with our result for Williams. Couldn't be any happier for my teammate as well, who gave it absolutely everything on the final lap. He was very, very passionate about that first win, as he should be. He just really did deserve it with that move right at the end of the race. So we might just see that here today, but it's going to be a more strategical one, no doubt, with some scripted rain involved, if you don't already know about that. So we do have a mix of tyre compounds going on right now, some opting for the softs and some will be opting for the mediums towards the end of the session.
Yeah, so we did some practice sessions and we saw maybe lap 11, lap 12 is when the rain could come, but people could be, if a safety car comes out, or even depending on how the race turns out, people could be trying to extend their run on the softs. People could be trying to do everything they can with that type of stuff. Yeah, Kagoda says if it weren't for the safety car, he would have 100%, that's for sure. But the safety car with XB1, Ryan, pause, get changed everything. A lot changed from that. And Hamilton, around the outside at turn 7, I think it was, passing Kagoda, and doing what he needed to take his first ever win in ARL, and a great fashion from P18 as well. back someone has won from before was P8. So I'm telling you, or P9, sorry, P9. But I'm telling you, with that, some history, some records were broken yesterday. I'm happy to say that was definitely one of them.
Yeah. Probably one of the latest safety cars we've had in Tier 2, except from Bahrain maybe, off the top of my head. But it really did spice things up. Not too sure about the whole cause of it, unfortunately, which was a very big topic post-race. But I think that's just been deemed not deliberate, hasn't it, in the penalties?
Yeah, it didn't look deliberate. If you go, I'm looking on Borders Rundle. This is the corner, kind of happened out of the exit of this corner. Silent lost it last season.
Yeah.
Maybe he lost it on the curb, kind of right there. You can easily lose it, especially on a default setup, which is what XR Ryan was running. That's kind of how he lost it through there, default setup, and kind of spun it back toward the wall. Had no chances of overcorrecting it from what we saw. I mean, from the pictures we saw and from the angle we saw, it wasn't always the best angle that we saw, but we could see kind of somewhat what happened, and it was not intentional. I at least would assume it was, but I don't think it was. I mean, Silent had the same thing happen last season. He went out of that exact corner, that exact wall, in that area. So I'm not surprised at all that it was that way. People lose it so easily there, and plus he was behind another car anyway. So when you get behind another car like that, it's just not good. And especially in the area, you can't. Heading into Sector 3, you cannot follow a car through there. You can't. Through that corner, you can try to, but you just mess up or can't see the racing line or whatever it could be. You just mess up. That's just the way it goes. So, yeah, Tier 2 yesterday, a great pass for the win, as Kagoda did say. It was a great pass. I think that was probably one of the best overtakes we saw this season so far, and especially with how that's went there. So, now I want to talk about the championship fights. Davis needs to beat Patriot and Hissy by about 9 points between them. 9 to 12 points.
Corey Marshall's crashed.
Oh, out of the session. Turn 1, that is. I was gonna say with Tier 3, with the way it went, so they need to do a lot. Davis and Hissy, or not Davis and Hissy, Hissy and Patriot, they need to do a lot in order to have everything go right to keep their chance in the championship. You know, next week is Mexico for them. They have 3 races left in Tier 3. So a lot can change right there as well. Tier 2 has their battle. 30 points between Kagoda and Pluto now. 40-something, 44, I think, between Adam Fav and Kagoda. So a lot can easily change, and a lot has shown it to change as well with that. Especially with Pluto DNFing, Kagoda getting the 19 points he needs, all changed very quickly in the championship. And now today, with the Tier 1 championship, we have Boker and Rapalukas, 51 points between them. But the thing is, I gotta mention, keep in mind, you could say, oh yeah, they're 51 points apart, the championship we won today. No, it can't. 27 points are awarded per race. Pole and fastest lap take part in that. Pole and fastest lap are two points together. With 25 points for that race win. So that's 81 points in general that you have for that position there. 81 points for the 3 races at the top. That's the most you can get. So that's the way it is. That's the way it goes. You get 81 points. There you go. 30 points would need to be gained in order for that championship to be won, but you can only gain 27 in a race. So that's all what goes on. Boker looks to possibly win the championship next week for Tier 1 in Spa. Tier 2, Tier 3 is at Mexico. Well, Tier 1's at Spa next week, so let's see what happens there. But tell me about the championship, Milo. Boker and Rapalukas, 51 points, and there is a yellow flag somewhere. Don't know where that does.
ABS Jarvis reversing.
So tell me then about the championship in Tier 1. 51 points separate them, you know, especially after the last race. Boker won the race. 10 points difference between Rapalukas and Boker. The change that has happened there changes a ton, considering what has all gone on.
Yeah, in terms of the championship in general, we spoke about this last night, but it's sort of been like the real-life 2019 season. We've had some brilliant racing throughout the season, some brilliant races in general, but the championship just hasn't necessarily been close, but there has been a lot of competition. But Mr. Boca, if he gets on the podium today and he repeats it next week and he beats Rapalucas, then he can easily win it next week without a doubt. But we can't go and ignore the remaining out of contention drivers. John is on 76 points, only 3 points ahead of Sam Steed, who is having a brilliant season, a very, very consistent season, can prove he can come back from the lower areas of the grid. Rizal obviously has the qualifying ban in 10 seconds, so that might hurt his battle with the likes of Jack, an F1 driver as well. So a lot of individual battles going on, again, much like real life 2019. Getting those little break-up in battles.
Yeah, it's been back and forth between a lot of drivers. It's been going on and off with the championship. But Boker, I mean, Rapalucas mentioned this. Boker's not really had a challenge or a guy really fighting him for the championship this season. He's just kept the lead. He's just had that lead. He's not really had anyone to need to be sweating for. And then tell me about the constructors' battle to 50 points between Renault and Williams.
Obviously, those teams have really only had their one driver collecting most of the points. For Renault, it's Mr. Boca with 189 out of those 202. And for Williams, it's Rapalucas with 138 out of their 152. So it's whoever can have the better second driver, really, over the course of these last 4 races, starting today in Hockenheim. That will decide this Constructors' Championship, I think.
So, I want to mention to everyone, there's a time delay. You might see time remaining, 2 minutes. Yeah, you're wrong. 3 minutes really left in the session around that. Alright, so, I want to go over some of the fun facts that I gathered last night, around this time last night. So, Mr. Boker could tie the most all-time wins today at 7. If he wins this race, he ties that all-time wins at 7, tying Riles, first on the all-time win list at that point. This race only had one virtual safety car last season. That was caused by J.C. Graham spinning out at turn 1 exactly, and I mean exactly, as Ricochet goes to the top, exactly like Valtteri Bottas did. It's similar to Sir Leclerc in that way. It was both mixed, as Graham does go off there at 11th place there. But you also have DW and AMS Tax. They took their last podium at this track last season. That's interesting to bring up because DW is currently second fastest of the medium runners right now. Championship lead has never changed. I mentioned that earlier. You know, a lot has gone back and forth. Sam Steed took his only pole at this racetrack last season. So, look at Sam Steed possibly being up at the front. You never know. AMS Tax's car is sitting there on the racetrack. Not like it should. The checker flag's complete. And look at that. Danny Skedit almost ran into that car. The problem is that car's completed the checker flag, but it's not ghosted.
Yeah, this is because it was Tax that was mostly holding the session up. Not his fault, of course, but I think he's got a completely different time remaining in qualifying to everyone else.
And this track provided DW's last win at ARL as well. Yeah, look at this. This is so bad. F1 driver.
It's not his fault.
It's not.
Remember that.
I wish that car was retired from session already. I would pull up, but it just says the checker flag complete. Now the checker flag's going to be complete for some drivers. But we will have a wet race for the first time since Singapore. Tier 1 have had some wet action this season with, you know, wet. Oh, there goes ABS Jarv!
See, his teammate.
Now that car speeds up? Oh my god. No, with the way it's gone this season so far, we had some wet qualies already. We've had some races where it's been in the rain, Singapore for 9 laps, and you had the light rain in quali, light to dry sessions in Austria, and you had the full wet in Singapore. Coming to the line, I believe that's GSR Axe. Not gonna improve whatsoever, and out. Where does the Williams go? That is DW, I think, coming off the final corner.
It's not on a lap. Sam's still on a lap.
Polo's pitting. Danny Skedit's on a lap as well. 95 1,000 sub. It looks to be Ricochet on the pole. But where does Sam Steed go to? Goes faster. Danny
So
scared
it's
himself in the
Jack.
front corner. No, out of fuel.
Jack is the medium runner leader then, so he's going for the no stops up until where we expect the wet period to be. So, Jack, could this be the day where he finally gets that desired win? He's been so quick the last few rounds.
Not only that, look at the gap between him, DW, and Boker. You know, DW, got to take into consideration he won this race last season. Think about this.
Yep.
He was contending earlier this week in DRL with AMS Jasper, a driver who's faster than Boker. He was contending with them. What happened? Held up in the pit stop, spun out. So, can he recover from that tip? Ricochet, Corey Marshall, Jack is the top 3. I think you can go over the rest. I think but you could try.
Yeah, I can maybe look on the stream, but
It don't help.
we all saw it. So, Mr. Boker obviously 5th with his championship rival Rapalucas in 7th. Remember, it can't be won today, but a considerable jump. Outscoring would mean he'd only have to score a few points next week at Spa, where the Tier 1 guys will race. Sure, that'll be an interesting one. So, yeah, we have F1 driver. He starts 8th. It'll be Sam 9th. And then Tax rounds off the top 10.
Yeah, I just saw Kagoda's comment. I don't know if you did. If Tax gets like Kagoda got yesterday, there could be carnage.
Yeah, it could be carnage. And hopefully we don't
that
get
wouldn't
a
be good.
timing glitch as well.
And hopefully we don't see what we saw in Italy with the 3-second safety car. With that on lap 1. So yeah. All right. Did you do it last week? Were you going through the order first? Did your ones to watch? Or
Yes, I did do it first.
Alrighty, I'll go
So you
through
go
mine
first.
then. Jack on the mediums, the highest runner-up on the mediums. He's been on podium this season once. He worked together well with his teammate Axe. If Axe gets up there, can he be wingman? Can he get Jack a race win? And keep in mind, the Racing Point team and the constructors have rebounded after they got Jack and back in Spain. So when they took rid of TSR Norris, who got a point last season in this race. Obviously, things changed in that Racing Point team has been so strong, and Jack has improved as a driver as well. He's sitting up there in the 3rd position. I'm going to go with Jeb William MSU on the hards, making his first start. I know him from a lot of F1 leagues, back in the NASCAR days as well. I know a lot about how Jeb can be aggressive for sure, and a driver who's willing to give room and willing to be respectful to the others, the other drivers in the racetrack. So he's on the harder tires, and he is on the different tires than everyone else. Him, Axe, and Graham are on the hard tires. I want to go with Rizone as well. He has that 10-second time penalty, and he also has the quality ban that he had into this race because of what happened. I mean, obviously P20 to P1 don't look crucial and what could happen, but he does look to possibly be in the points today. And what could really screw him over is the late race safety car. Rizone is really looking for this race to stay green the whole time. Milo, you're 3.
I'm going to start off with Sam. Remember, he got his first pole position last season and came home to finish in 5th. So overall, a good day for him, and he's on the medium tyres, and he'll be able to stick with those who will be backing up from those on the softs as well. We'll go with... Oh wow, this is a tough one. We'll go for Atlantis. Obviously, 17th isn't ideal, but he finished 4th last season, and we've seen what starting far down can actually, how it can benefit you. Fresh tyres at the start, avoid some of the carnage, pick the optimal strategy. He might be able to take some points from this one today, and I think that's all we've got time for, sorry.
Yep. Yeah, 5 red lights upon us here. When is the wet weather going to come? Here we go for the start of the green flag. 5 red lights up. Giving it up now. And here we go for the lights out, and away we go at the start of the Grand Prix. Ricochet and Corey Marshall side by side into turn 1, making contact at turn 1. Boker and John almost touch as well, keeping it clean at the back as well. Very
Sam inside of Rapalucas.
I think that was Tax running in the back of the Alfa Romeo. 3 wide there. Keeping it clean, I believe. Off the racetrack into the grass a little bit. Relative Rundle went down there. Boker passed by John. Ricochet down the order, but Jack up to P2. Into the hairpin now. We had carnage last season. Jack down the inside. Keeping it clean through the hairpin this time, unlike last season. Very clean first lap already. Rizone. Still down.
Mr. Boca down the inside. Never mind, he locked up the front left.
Yeah, Rizone back to 18th after that start. So
now.
remember the 10-second penalty. Yeah, 10-second penalty you got by Graham there. Typhoon as well fell down the order and making contact with Graham.
Oh! Typhoon picked up some.
Well, oh, Polo goes wide. LSU Rundle's there to challenge and makes contact with him. And F1 driver, his teammate, goes through as well. Jack leading the first lap ahead of DW, ahead of John, who's ahead of Boker. Very first clean first lap. I think that's the first time we've had that this season.
Oh, Polo! He almost
goes
went
down
into
the
the back
order.
of his teammate, had to take avoiding action, went onto the grass on the left-hand side to avoid him there. We have Ricochet trying to come back now at DW. Into the hairpin, he goes down the inside.
Whoa, he almost hits Corey Marshall right there, but forces him off the racetrack.
Now John
These two
comes
practice
through.
together. These two practice together most of the time. DW and Ricochet. Usually the Sunday morning lobbies.
DW hitting the back of John. I don't think he's happy with losing 2 positions there and losing what could be net P2.
Yeah, I mean, where he's at, Corey Marshall, Ricochet, all ahead of him on the soft tires. Behind that, LSJ Rundle gets by Tax right there. Trade positions right there. F1 driver as well, challenging for the points. He was on podium last season. By the way, the guys who were on podium last season were all outside the top 10 in points, I think, except for F1 driver. You can probably check sometime later in this race, Milo, but they have not had a good season. They've not had a good start to the season as well with DW, Tax, and F1 driver. Only one of those drivers have been on podium, and only the one who's been at podium has been on the podium twice. A penalty for Graham, and I believe it's pitting for Typhoon. A change of front wing. Polo getting to the back of Danny Skedden, but now on this back straight for this race lead, Corey Marshall 6 in behind Jack and stays right there.
Jack's first lap was absolutely brilliant. He got past the two
wide.
soft runners.
Rizone takes advantage. Go ahead.
Yeah, Jack got past the 2 soft runners by turn 6 on lap 1, so he is running in a super strong position. He's got John behind by about 2 seconds, who is stuck behind the soft runners for now. So this is absolutely perfect for Jack.
Not only that, this race is so much more competitive than last season as well. You have F1 driver MDW and Tax run podium last season in this race. 10th, 11th, and 5th. ABS driver who ran 4th most of the race, down to 13th. So you got to take into consideration what'll happen. Anyway, Jebel MSU, one of the drivers making his first start. Corey Marshall takes a penalty off at turn 1. While Jack leads the Grand Prix. He's ahead of John by about 2 seconds. Now, when the wet period comes, expected to be about 6, 7, 8 laps from now.
That's what we expect, yes. Here comes Ricochet.
Yeah, the only thing that's stopping Corey Marshall from getting overtaken by Ricochet is the fact that he had DRS, and there he goes under the back of him almost. Well, he hit him there, actually, so.
Yeah, Corey Marshall really struggled on the turn 4 exit. Got wide onto the right-hand side curb. Got some oversteer as well, so these softs starting to go off very quickly, as we did expect.
Yeah. I mean, look at the time he's losing to Jack now. I mean, these are probably even on pace. Still sunny, come on, we want wets, yeah! Wet race! I thought we need it, yeah, we do. Expect it to come soon in the next 5 to 10 minutes, though. I'm not Jeff, but I will predict. Because we did some weather practice last night, Milo. We know what the weather could be like. We know how it can be. We know lap 12, lap 11, lap 10 was the estimate for every driver to have the wet, at least the switch to rain, or even the wet compounds. Well, it inters actually, but still, that switch to inters, wets, whatever you go for, could change the way your race is. I don't think it'll be enough for wets, but it'll definitely be enough for inters from what we saw. Now, Ricochet, what's stopping him from overtaking Corey Marshall is the fact that John's over the back of him, and now here comes John under the hairpin, who's on the different tires.
Needs to go down the inside.
Typhoon's actually left the session.
I'll get him back.
I know, yeah, damage. I don't know if that's a rage. I don't know what that is, but I know Typhoon definitely not too happy with how his race has gone so far. And Ricochet just got a punt from the back of John. And now he's got passed by 2 cars, and now he's holding up Boker a little bit. He hits Boker. A little bit of a tap there. And he's the one in between DW and John. And this is all allowing Jack to pull away in this race. Now, Jack, you know, I'm not going to curse anything yet, but the thing is, he's leading this race. He was leading a race. He looked like a clear favorite. There you go. Boker
They're struggling,
goes through.
they're struggling. Sam on the back of his teammate.
Into turn 1. Penalty for Sam. Yeah, the thing is, Jack in command of this race, he can control this race. That's the thing. Now the problem is, he cannot make a mistake now. He has to manage that gap and have Corey Marshall stay ahead of these guys. But now here comes John into the back of him. 4P2. John goes through at the hairpin. Well, DW runs to the back of him. So does Boker. Boker goes through. DW has some damage and spins it out.
Oh no! Safety car deployed.
Out of the race.
Oh, he's done it again.
And there you go, Williams, for your Constructors' Championship. Hope's probably being over next week or 2. Oh, man. What happened there? Oh, my God. And this screws Jack. Jack, your lead's gone. Wow. Dominant Square said, how'd I know he wrecked? Yep, yeah, he just lost the traction. I mean, Matty Mumu did the same thing, I think, on medium traction. He lost the traction off the curb yesterday as well, so that's not the first time.
Oh, this is Corey Marshall's pitting. Ricochet stays out.
Wow. He does? Wow. What? He stayed out.
Graham pitting as well, as is Atlantis, as is Jav.
Yep, so they go for the mediums as well. Graham goes for the mediums. Yep, they all go for the mediums, it looks like. Atlantis goes to hards. Okay.
He started on hards.
The thing is, Jack is in control of this race. It's just like Britain all over again, where Jack and John really in control of this race. And it sucks for Dylan, because that really screws him. Because he ran in the back of, he made a mistake, ran in the back of Corey Marshall, I believe it was. Ran in the back of him, Boker dived it down the inside of him, Boker gone through, and when DW saw Boker go through, he clipped the curb there, and spun right off the curb when he tried to accelerate on the traction. And now this is what this caused the safety car. Yeah, Thrasher brings up a good point. Reese is happy that the safety car didn't come out any later. Yeah, I mean, if this was a late race safety car, he'd be probably fuming, and I don't blame him.
Aaron Ocon as well with a fun fact. This week there has been a crash in every tier of the hairpin. Unsurprisingly, yes, that is true.
Yeah, I mean, it just, people just struggle so much in that traction. I think there's been a penalty as well for someone going off the hairpin as well, because I know people go off in that left side part and they get a penalty for it. So I'm really curious to see who's going to do what, because look at the clouds. I'm going to look at the clouds. Look at the front straight clouds. Getting more darker. Getting more and more darker. The safety car actually helps the rain come earlier, so people stay out here. The people who pitted under that safety car, 15th on back, except for Typhoon, who's not in the session. Needs to be in the session.
Yeah,
here.
I did invite him.
Yeah, try again.
Yep, we'll do.
So, where everyone's at, LJ Rendo right near Rapalucas. We've not talked about Rapalucas a lot, down in 6th. You know, on the mediums. Sam up there as well in the mediums, 5th place for him. He got a good finish last season in this race. Could he be in the podium this season if anything happens, if people get the strategy wrong? Yeah, now the rain will be coming sooner. Exactly. Look at the clouds up in the sky. In the
Much darker.
Yep. They got Ryan's coming in.
Yeah.
Race engineer Sam right there as well. Yeah, because I know he was gonna come in at the session once someone Dean after left the session and stuff. DNFing. Sorry.
Yeah, Rapalucas is often very good with the track limits and patience as well. It's what's kept him in contention in previous races like Britain, he was just there or thereabouts, waiting for something to happen, and he was rewarded eventually with a win there, surprisingly. So it's not over for him yet.
I mean, look at safety car coming in this lap. It's not over for really everyone, too. You have Axe back there, Jab, some of the guys who pitted as well. They're looking, I mean, Atlantis is going to hards, but the rain comes sooner now with this, and Jack is going to back up the pack. It's not over for Polo God, who had a bad start as well. Almost ran in the back of his teammate. The two Mercedes run close to one another. The two Ferraris might help each other in 4th and 5th. Fend off the Williams and Rapalookas and the rest of the field, or attack them. When does Jack go, though? The safety car is coming into the pits right about now. He's going to go here pretty soon, and he is about to go right now. He's on the gas and away. Safety car is in, and we are green flag, and we are off the final corner. The two teammates, Sam Cena and Ricochet, though, close to one another. 5/10 between the race lead, Jack and John.
Oh, Ricochet spun! He's gone! He's lost it!
Oh, man. On the soft.
But on the soft.
That was a mistake. Staying out was a mistake.
Yeah.
Cold tires. Rundle trying to wrap the Lucas with a hairpin. Heading into the hairpin. P5, this is for.
He's gonna go for it.
Around the outside. Back to the inside, making a switch back down the order. Tax, 3 wide. Oh my god. Remember, there was a crash.
They're inside of each other.
Tier 3 as well. The two Mercedes, Rizone, and Alfa Romeos as well. Side by side again. That's Tax and Rizone.
Polo God gets a good exit.
Here he comes on the inside of Tax. Trying it. He hits the back of him. Oh, look at the racing point of Axe. Forcing Jab off.
Good restart for Corey Marshall as well on fresh mediums. He's right on the back of this train. There's still a lot of points on offer for him. He was running second for the first section of this race.
Jab is just getting past now, back to 17th right there as well. ABS Jarb, F1 driver, close to 7th and 8th. And look at the clouds, it's got way more cloudy. You're going to expect the rain here pretty soon. Sam Cetus fell without a DRS once that gets enabled, or even when it gets disabled, who knows. 1.5 back from Boker, and now for the race lead, 5/10 separate Jack and John.
Polo passing Tax. He's got the inside line for the hairpin. Will he brake later?
Inside of him.
Nice
Polo
move.
goes around the inside, he goes through. Danny Skedit. Finished friend of Tax, gonna go through, or at least try it on Tax into turn 6-7 area. And he goes down the inside. He's gonna make a move.
Oh, Tax
gets into
up.
Tax. Little bit of contact between him and Tax. It was very slight, but Danny goes around the outside this time. Zone for
Now Corey
P20,
Marshall.
P9 as well.
Tax has just lost 3 positions on this lap.
Make that almost 4 with Axe. It's about to be 4 here. As well, DRS enabled. So you might see he gets it disabled soon. 11 positions for ABS Jar from P19. Rizone 11 positions for him. Already up to 8th and 9th for them. As well as Rundle, 12 positions. Or starting P12. Up 6 positions.
We might well just see the first few drops of rain on this lap. We tested it yesterday at a steady racing pace, and we got it on lap 11.
Rapalookas was trying it on Sam there. He's close enough to make a move. Corey Marshall and Danny Skedit trying down the inside here.
As well. Oh, they touch. Him and Jarv, they lock front wheels. He gets through.
ABS Jar stays behind and now loses that position. But behind that, Danny Skedit and Corey Marshall stay side by side here. Corey Marshall gets ahead. So Boker's closer to John while John is trying to close that gap to Jack. You know, John, I spoke to him after Italy. Here's the rain. Here's the rain.
Correct.
There you
it
have
is
it.
raining.
I spoke to John after after the most recent race in Italy. Yellow flag, who's that? That's
Atlantis.
No, Atlantis, around.
On the pit entry, so
Wow.
he's got a little bit of front wing damage. He will remain in the pit lane.
I spoke to John though after the last race back in Italy. He was a little bit mad about F1 driver not working together as much with the rest of the drivers to catch Boker, because Boker was ahead and they couldn't get to him anymore. They couldn't get to him at all. And because of that, it costed maybe them a chance at a win. Maybe John at a podium, but he costed himself with the hards. Ack has actually left the session now. And Atlantis going to inners with the front wing change. I think Boker at the back of John there as well. He got close to him. Whether he got very close to him or he hit the back of him, one of the two. Make sure Typhoon gets back in the session. But this is like 2018. Ran at one part of the race, I can drive the other. Yeah, kind of like that. A little bit interesting how this could go.
Typhoon isn't joining now.
Well, Rundle gets close to Sam Steed. And Rundle dives down the inside. Pushes Sam Steed wide into the gravel.
Oh.
He pushes him off. And Corey Marshall goes through for position. And John's
pitting.
So do a lot of other
people.
He's
taking a gamble.
Driver. Sam Steed as well.
This could work, you know.
Look at how much harder the rain is coming down now compared to the last lap. ABS drive through second penalty through turn 1. And Razone trying on Rundle. Down the inside. Hits the back of him. It's his rear wheel. And he goes through. Inners for John. F1 driver. Sam Steed and Graham. And even Axe, who might pit this time. Even Axe is not in the session. Even Jeff would be suggesting to go to inners at this point.
Yeah. Axe joined back.
Oh, he did? Okay. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, Rundle's running deep. He's forced Razone off the track. Not much front grip left on these tyres now. As
F1 driver
side by side.
spun. F1 driver spun.
The first into spin.
Oh, ABS driver Razone!
Oh, Java Razone!
Right in front of the field.
And there's a big crash at turn 8. DRS is disabled. Big crash.
He's hitting Razone back. Polo got a piece of that as well. And look at the track conditions. Now it's definitely time for inners. It's way too wet of the track.
Good decisions then from John, Sam, Graham. They'll be faster now.
Jack and Boker pit. On the race lead, Rapid Lucas does as well. Jack speeding.
Jack speed!
Wow.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
And John who gone to the inners a lap earlier, does he take this race lead? He might. He's going to be close. He's got Boker. Not close enough to Jack.
And Jack's got the penalty as well, so John is in a very good position. Made the good decision.
Sam Steed pitted a lap earlier. Very close as well. Rundle. Actually, Graham who pitted a lap earlier as well. Back up to a good position, but now with Razone and ABS driver crash there, what all happened, Milo? I'm sure you saw a good angle of that.
Yeah, I think it might have been Jar. He went through flat out. He just started to spin. I think he touched the rear of Razone, and they both just connected and went over to the right hand side of the track and went back onto the exit racing line, and then that just caused absolute mayhem. I'm sure that will be investigated.
Still have that dry patch, not really dry patch, but dry part in the clouds. Right there, you never know when this could get back dry. I mean, lap 26 was the estimated time. Boker was close to John, but back there, Polo close to Graham, who's running in the points. Danny Skedden behind, Tax behind that as well. Razone close to Jarv again, who's back there, and that really affected ABS Jarv and Razone. Oh, Boker's close to John here. The turn 2, turn
Jack
3
is starting
area.
to pull away again.
Remember, Jack and Boker on pad. Pad usually dominates the wet. Danny's got it 3 second time penalty for him. Now, here comes Boker on John. To the hairpin. Razone gets a penalty. Boker dives down the inside. Ooh, Boker goes in a little bit. Danny and Polo as well. Danny goes by Polo. So now that Boker's through, Boker has the chance to catch Jack.
Jack really has to watch his track limits now, because if he takes another penalty, even if it's another speeding penalty, actually. Wait, that's totally wrong. Ignore me. He's got to serve that penalty, because they'll need to make another stop back to the slicks.
That's true. And that will really help him if the safety car comes out, because he can easily challenge the rest of the drivers now with that, so we don't have to worry about it at the end of the race, with knowing he's got 5 seconds on it. Atlantis gets by Typhoon's car. Yeah, Typhoon's something with his Wi-Fi that he said happened. Of course, not running the points though, so really know with that one. But 2 drivers out of the race already. That is Ricochet and DW already.
Danny's Gedit's got a
penalty.
good run and goes down the inside of Graham. They touch front wheels, and Danny has to save the car from spinning.
But here comes Danny back at it again. These 2 have history from this season, so it ain't gonna be over just yet. Here comes Danny on the outside of Graham, side by side into the hairpin, making contact, and they turn each other.
He's turned left.
Big crash.
Safety car again. Danny turned left there. And those 2 have history. It continues in Hockenheim.
Out of the race. Well, Renault, I think, have cursed himself in the chat. They said, "Oh yay, go Renault, yay!" No, no, not that time. Wow. And Jack actually had a good lead on Booker. Looked like 3 seconds
Yeah.
it was now.
That would have
That's-
really helped.
So everyone, yeah, of course, here comes the chats, the chat comments with Danny, because they have history, and I know Renault, I know almost all the Renault drivers are watching this race, so yeah, that ain't gonna go over well. That's not the first time those 2 have collided, and I know Graham has been really kind of frustrated with how it's been going this season. He's had good pace, he's had a chance at being a good finish, being a good spot, and it's just never happened, except for Austria early season. It's still that really sucks for him. It ain't gonna go over well. Well, it's still raining, and it does get heavier as we go.
I'm not too sure why Danny is
Blame.
blaming Graham at this point in time. Yeah.
I'm not sure as well. I mean, it looked like, you know, I don't know. I mean, that left-hand turn in the straight, you have to let off. You have to be careful. You can't just expect, oh yeah, I'm gonna go side by side with it here, I'm gonna make it. No, you have to be careful, especially if it's in the wet conditions. And you gotta be careful of what you because you can't misjudge that. And I think Danny just misjudged that. Mistake on him, obviously.
Yeah. F1 driver as well. I was just reading some of the qualifying reaction. He insists that Tax should maybe get a penalty for qualifying, which immediately I don't agree with. Already said that's not his fault. It's not his.
Right.
It's totally the game's fault for loading him in earlier. So that's just my comment overall on that. This race has changed once again. 2 safety cars. Remember, we only had the 1 VSC in this race last season.
Great to bring up with the wet conditions. It's similar to 2019 Germany now with all this wet conditions with the where the track is looking like. I mean, I saw at the beginning of turn 16 it was, turn 14, wherever that area is, the skating rink at the beginning of there, someone clipped the curb or someone clipped the outside curb there in the back. Kind of how Lewis did and spun out. I think it was Rizone or Atlantis, one of the 2 clipped that curb and got so sideways they almost spun out. I don't know which one it was, but I know it was one of the Toro Rossos who clipped it. Well, I'll let you take over for now. I need to go do something quickly, so talk about the race.
We're on lap 18 of 34 of round 10 of season 2 in ARL Tier 1. The championship cannot be won today, but Mr. Boker is in a very nice position here with Jack's 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Remember that one, as he'll have to come in and serve that once we go back to slick tyres. Rapaluca's currently running in 4th for Williams. He's slowly gaining positions as this race goes on. It's all just slowly falling to him like it was in Silverstone. So for now, I predicted that well. LSJ Rundle running in 6th. He said he had a little bit more pace in qualifying, but I think was held somewhere, can't quite remember. Sam Steed back up to 5th, his finishing place last season. Safety car is in this lap.
Interesting to bring up. You take it away to the restart, to start the restart.
Alright, no worries. We got Jack heating up his tyres again. He needs to try and break away as much as possible. The rain is starting to ease though, we can see that. So I wonder if by lap 20, 21 maybe, it will be only cloudy and start to turn back to sunny. Jack has gone really early, but has the safety car come in? No, it hasn't. We're going green now. The green flags are out. We are underway. It's a little bit early, but Jack leads from Mr. Boca about 9/10. John already close to the back of Mr. Boca through turn 1. Now Polo God had a pretty rough start. He's braking late. Trying to overtake LSJ Rundle.
1 second for the race lead, I want to mention. All really close. DRS is not enabled. Keep that in mind. Jebel AMSU, AMS Tax for P8. Side by side here. AMS Tax really not wanting to give up that position. Jab down the inside again in his first start. Zone and Jarv side by side again. These two made contact earlier in the race.
Yeah, Jarv is lagging quite a lot. I see why some people are dissatisfied with the connection, because it makes him very hard to race against. Just car is all over the place, and his car is usually solid.
Yeah, you don't want to be near laggy cars because you say if they're lagging and they could teleport. I mean, I think people know that with our lane, how that went. They can teleport and they can lag back into you, and they can give you damage when you try to overtake them. So it's not good to be around laggy cars, and that's not the thing you want. And that's something that I don't think anyone wants. But when do we go to dries? When does it stop? When does it stop raining? Actually, LSJ Rundle takes a penalty. Through turn 1, I'm gonna assume that is. But yeah, I'm gonna assume here with since we've had the safety cars, that it probably dries at about lap 24, lap 25ish, maybe early lap 26, something like that. We could see something like that. At least dries up. I'm not saying, you know, the move to mediums or wherever people go, mediums, softs, wherever, who knows.
Very close. Action down at the hairpin. Zone did get past Jarv again.
Boker and Jack, 3/10 separate the gap between the race lead. Jack is holding on. He's gonna have to serve that 5 second at some point. I would assume Jack wished that safety car came out at the safety car point where the switch to mediums right there, or the switch to softs wherever people switch there.
Would he have been allowed to serve it though? Pretty sure that's a rule somewhere.
So though, I don't know. More tense between the gap of them, between turn 1 for the race lead, between P4, 7/10 separate them. And at the far back, ABS Jarv and Rizone still stay close. ABS Jarv was running 4th in this race last year as well. Well, for the race lead again,
streaming Jack. And he's
down
going
the
the
inside.
inside of Jack. He'll try to hold it around the outside. He gets left the room. Boca gets the better traction and ultimately gets the position.
Polo and
turn number 7. But Jack comes back down the inside.
Whoa!
That was unexpected.
He's gonna hook it around the outside. He's gonna try it.
going.
He's still there. He almost turns Booker. He almost turns him, and he goes to the race lead. He might have to give that position back. He does.
Now still side by side through Sachs curve. Oh, he touches the back of him. Now John is within 2/10 to Jack.
Well, keep in mind what that spot is for even a podium. It could be once that spot dries up. Once this dries up, keep in mind John, where he's at, P3. You know, Rapalocas is closing in. And who's behind him? Sam. Could challenge them.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, Sam does not have a penalty, I believe. Well, actually, he does. I'm wrong. Through turn 1, he got one.
The top 5 are within 3 seconds right now, so anyone now has an opportunity to try and capitalise and win some extra points and maybe even a podium position.
Well, now that gap is kind of closed in with Rapalocas. Sam C's got close to him. You can tell Sam C's getting closer, but when do you think the rain will stop?
I did say about lap 21, but we saw yesterday in the practice race we had about even amounts of the dry first stint and then the intermediate second stint. So this actually might come surprisingly late for what we've seen. Obviously it does vary. We did a few tests with different weather settings and we always got a different outcome with when the rain arrives. So might come much later, maybe as late as lap 27. I know you said 26.
Yeah. I want to pay attention to the backstretch when it gets less and less cloudy, when it gets more and more sunny as well. LSU Rendell and Jeb MSU tried it, yeah. Yeah, it is very light. LSU Rendell and Jeb MSU were going back and forth there for position there. It's still going back and forth for 8th again. Actually 7th. Jeb MSU around the outside goes by LSU Rendell in his first start here. And behind that, Corey Marshall and Tax to the hairpin. Oh, Corey Marshall breaks lane, breaks for wing. This is not real life German
It stopped.
19, is it? And it has stopped. When do they go to dries then? There you go, that's the big
Tax
question.
has to run off the track a little bit to get that position on Corey Marshall as he squeezes him wide in the process. Now Corey Marshall is side by side.
Whoa, there they go!
And that might, oh, they're both out! That's the second collision where 2 cars have retired from the race. It's a virtual safety car.
Do these guys pit now? This is a big question. John is thinking about it. He's thinking about it, he does it!
Oh.
This is huge. What a chaotic race we've seen so far. Atlantis goes as well. This is bold. Axe and Corey Marshall both go out. They go to the softs. That's probably wrong.
Wow.
That's probably
I don't agree with that.
I don't agree with that either. That's wrong.
John's strategy as they play hasn't been very wise.
No.
Unless we're proved wrong. Unless we're proved wrong by him, then ultimately, I apologise, it's green, and John gets a really poor restart, and is already struggling with traction. Now Sam has an opportunity to try and take P3 today.
Tax goes by Rundle. Rundle almost runs in the back of him there, and Rizone is there to challenge as well. I lost connection to Xbox Live. What the hell? Well, that's awesome. I'm just waiting for an invite back. I need an invite back.
Hello? Yeah, I'm doing it now.
Oh my god.
Are we
I've never
back
had
live?
this happen to us. Yeah, we're still live, yeah.
Oh my god. I'll
Thanks
try
for the
and
messages.
update as I did try to get you back. Rizon is currently right on the back of LSJ Rundle. The track is getting a lot drier. There's much less spray. John still struggling on the softs, as is Atlantis. I still think they have made the wrong call here. Polo God's running up in 5th place, 2 seconds behind Sam, who's running a second behind Rapalucas. Mr. Boker taking a few tenths. Possible sort of radio commentary here, but Jack is
Radio
pitting,
commentary, yeah.
as is
We'll be back again.
Rapalucas. Yeah, we'll do. As is everyone's coming in. The person that got caught out here was Mr. Boker, as he had already passed the pit lane before everyone else. I'll keep a close eye on him. I hope I'm doing a good job here. There's a mix now between the mediums and the softs. Rapalucas for mediums. Jack has gone on to softs. He comes out 2.3 seconds behind Rapalucas. Sam opts for the mediums. John comes back out in 6th on 2 old softs. And there is a yellow flag. I'm trying to find out where it is. Tax. A virtual safety car is deployed. So this will help Mr. Boker massively.
I wish I was in the session right now.
I'm not sure what it was for. I'm not sure what caused that. I can't lie. John is in 6th right now. Adam.
JC Graham's out. Okay. Well, that's not new.
That's not new, but it's just
Okay.
told you that. And Mr. Boker is going to be pitting. He's got a free pit stop. Oh, he's lucky.
Tell me about luck at its best, though.
DRS has just been enabled, and we're green.
AMS tax pits as well. So John actually is up to 6 from this. He pitted a lap earlier.
Jack
Pitted
is
2 laps
looking a
earlier.
lot quicker than Rapalucas. He's got good temperature for his tyres. What an exit from Jack! And up to P3.
Well, he's still side by side right there. He cuts in front of him. He goes through. Mr. Boker's
Look
on
how
the exit.
far
And
ahead
he's...
he is.
Wow.
Just to the VSG.
If they get a safety car, Mr. Boker's screwed. In my eyes, at least.
Jack needs to push.
Jeff Williams, you. Head of Polo. Rundle's there as well. This is just like the 2019 German Grand Prix, honestly.
Here comes
Well,
Rundle.
Rundle on Polo. He goes to the left side. Rizone switching back and forth. Into the back of him. Polo gets in the back of Jab. Rizone gets ahead. AMS Tax and Atlantis go side by side again. P11 this is for. Atlantis ended his point
Down the
streak
inside
last
goes
week.
Rundle.
John close to Sam. Can John get up there on the stops? He pitted a little bit too early for them. I don't think those stops will make it though. No, nor will Atlantis in my eyes.
I think John's race will be done by the end of this race.
Expect him to spin in turn 1 if he spins anywhere, really. Or through that long
Fastest
right-hander.
lap for
Jack,
Jack,
there
he's
you go,
gaining.
fastest lap. But did he served that 5-second, didn't he?
He did.
Boker has one warning. Jack has that penalty that he had in the pits. Didn't he get that? Yup. Okay, he has the one warning besides that
Good
then.
exit for John. He makes the switch back and goes up into P4.
Behind that, LSJ Rundle and Jab Bully MSU. Jab does not have DRS, but LSJ Rundle does. Into the hairpin. Here he comes down the inside. Behind that, Rizone and Polo. Rundle down the inside goes through. Rundle looking at his first points this season. Well, maybe second. I'm not too sure. But behind that, Polo and Rizone go wheel to wheel, side by side. Zone still has a 10-second. Keep that in mind. Polo is gonna have
Down
to
the
yield to
inside
that, but he
Polo.
goes down the inside. He goes back down the inside. He goes through ahead of Rundle, or Zone. He switches back. He tries to, dives down the inside.
He's lost it on the curb, surely. No, he keeps it in check. And Mr. Boca
Mr.
responds
Boca
with the
fastest
fastest
lap.
lap. Now Jack responds. He's gaining even more.
2/10 between their fastest lap, though. That's the difference between them. John and Rapalukas for this podium spot.
He needs to get within
John was
DRS.
in contention as well, yeah. Behind that, AMS Tax and Atlantis Tax goes through.
1.9, we have 5.5 laps to go. All those softs make it.
1.9, yeah. John for P3 now, and Rapalukas, not enough.
Switch back.
He dives down the inside. He's side by side, going through the hairpin. Polo lost it almost, and John goes through. F1 driver, fastest lap for him. Atlantis takes a penalty.
Jack is starting to lose time again.
What a German Grand Prix. If this is the last one we see for a while, or even at all, this would be a great one to end it off with. I've loved the scenes of this one. 2 seconds between the race lead. And now 5 laps to go. Rapalukas still stays within the rest of John through turn 1. Yeah, well, John ejects tires last. LSJ Rundle picks up a penalty through turn 1. I think that's a second one. Jeff MSU is close enough, and look at the track. It's still drying up. We might even get the times even faster. And Polo and Jarv close to Rizone as well. Gaining DRS in the back straight now. Look at how much more sunnier it is in this part of the track. Rapalukas, Sam close, and Rundle and Jab are close as well. 2.5 between the race lead, that gap is. Tax and Atlantis lock wheels! Into Atlantis! Tax goes! Almost loses it off the curb almost. So Rapalukas is still in contention for the podium. Remember, Jack had the 5 seconds that he served in the pit lane. If it weren't for that, could he have won this race? Could he have kept in front? Who knows?
He's gone on the wrong tyres, I think, though. They're already starting to go off. But luckily, it's John behind on the same compound, who is 5 seconds back. So I think Jack will survive with a P2 here today, but unfortunately, he's made that pit lane error and ultimately got unlucky with the timing of that BSC.
Tax pits, but while all this happens, look at the back of that pack. Rizone, Polo, close within range. Not really close as these guys, but Rizone and Polo look to catch up, and now behind here, Rapalukas trying to move on. John goes down the inside. He's gonna go through, making contact.
Sam
He goes through for a podium. Here comes Rundle for P5, making contact. Sam and Rapalukas. Sam goes ahead.
Rundle goes nearly off the track, and this invites
Here
Jack
comes Jack.
to. And they
Side by
touched.
side.
Nearly. They almost
Almost.
did what Axe and Corey Marshall did.
Sam's seen another penalty. That's his second. And this is all allowing Rizone to catch up with 3 laps to go this time. Boker has the lead, and he's looking to maybe get first on the all-time win list. With this, he can get it. Keep in mind, Rizone,
Rundle.
Rizone gets a penalty.
Rundle got some oversteer mid-corner as well, so that's just proving fair now of the soft tyres. And John is got to be crying at this point that this race just ends and ends now. Rapalukas goes through.
There
As
you
does
go.
John down the
John.
inside.
Making contact, John and Sam.
Now the
John
Red Bulls.
pulling off his teammate, but here comes Jab. The first time the 2 Red Bull teammates have challenged this season each other. Here comes Jab back at it, not enough. Behind that, Rizone is carried up to this train as well for P8. But remind yourself, he has that 10-second time penalty. Here he comes on Rundle! Down the inside! He goes through.
Brilliant racing.
Love it. 2 laps to go this time. F1 driver goes by, or gets passed by taxi, excuse me, right there. 4/10 between Sam and Rapalucas. Remember, look at how much John's softs are dying. Rizone on the softs as well, Rundle on the softs as well. Jab gets a penalty.
John is really struggling. He's not carried much speed at all through there. Ultimately closes back up by turn 2. Now comes his teammate. Oh,
Get that podium spot. Oh!
He lost
Jab,
it.
William SU goes through. Tax takes the fastest lap as well.
I'll see if
Rafa
Rafa.
have a pen.
Oh,
Yeah.
look. He has just the one warning. Jab has about 700 penalties, so I don't think this position for him will stand for much longer.
Well, still staying close. We reach the final lap this time. Boker leads the race. Now, how do those softs go through for Jack and them? Let's watch this. Through turn 1. Rapalucas, Sam Steed still stay close for a position as well.
Yeah, John
penalty. Here comes Rizone. And Rizone goes through. Here comes Rundle though. Around the outside. And he might do it. No, Rizone gets another penalty.
Here comes Rundle, looking to make it 3 wide into the hairpin.
Oh!
They
collide!
They all touch. And through goes
Polo
Polo
goes
God.
through.
And with Rizone's many penalties from last week as well, Polo's on for a good P6 here, and maybe even a P5 with, I think, Jab's 9 seconds or so worth of penalties right now. But around the final corner then comes Mr. Boker.
Through the stadium section, through the Fawn corner, first on the all-time win list. 7 wins for Mr. Boker now. He leads the championship still, and he might be able to clinch the next race. Jack comes across the line, best finish. What is P3 looking like? Rapalucas gets it. But behind that, Rizone, Polo. Rizone's going to be down farther, but John's up to P5.
Wow. John was good on the track limits considering he had 11 lap old softs at the end. Really good job ultimately from John. He had the pace once again, but if he went into the pits at the correct time, on the correct tyre...
Tax is spun, F1 driver's there. Oh! F1 driver goes through. There you go, that's for position.
What are you doing? Funny. Anyway. Woo. Woo.
Interesting one. I like that during this one. That was the funny part. Oh my god.
You play for it,
What?
It's what I say. You got Liverpool if you play for it. Change that right now.
Oh, Liverpool, yeah, alright, LFC. We will never walk alone.
YMCA.
Shut up, James. You what? That was, oh my god. If I've ever seen a lucky win, that is it. Oh my, how can the virtual safety car come out and save you like that? Oh.
Yeah.
SMH my head.
Oh dear.
No penalties, everyone else. We want penalties. Oh my god.
I'll push the fast.
I was pissed. I was pissed when I got that.
Yeah, you had to wait in the pit lane and then I struggled so badly.
I got 50 miles an hour max and it gave me a penalty. And I was
That's
annoyed
81 kilometers an
so
hour.
much.
That's 81 kilometers an hour.
Well, it doesn't change anything at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm happy with P2 though.
I almost
Well-
got fastest lap at the end. That's yeah.
Now the fun begins. Now the
I
fun begins.
I did feel a
I
bit bad
always
for John
think
John,
I
to
got
be
fastest
honest.
lap.
'cause
Welcome to the cooldown room.
I did send it. I did send it on John John, but you know, in reality, it's not like I pushed him off the track. You know, it was just a friendly, you know. Sam did a madness. You know, he nipped through, got both of us.
So
Yeah.
I was just watching a mini map.
How is Sam not
Nah, I
got a
passed
podium
him
yet?
after.
I know. I got to ask that same question. Sam
But I
is
mean,
definitely gonna be on for the
every
podium
good
soon.
position he's had, no offense, has kind of been, you know.
Not always.
Nah,
Most,
he
though.
actually did quite
Most,
well
though.
this race. He didn't
Yeah,
go
this
into,
race alright, but like
ridiculous-
Spain, France, yeah. I mean, no
I'd say
offense,
Spain
yeah.
mainly. Spain for sure.
He's had a
Yeah,
solid,
Spain was
he's
very
had a solid
lucky.
run, you know. He's third in the championship now, I think, right? Because Reese scored
Something
nothing.
like that, yeah.
Reece, I
John
should get
John-
points in
Reece
the
Wait,
scored
let
1 point.
No, John John would have
10.
scored 10, right? Yeah. So wait, let's go tier 1 points. Alright, quick maths. So, yeah, Sam was 3 points behind John John, and he finished 4. Oh, so he's still behind him, but only just.
By 1 point, right?
Yeah, 1 point.
Ooh.
So,
Well, now the fun begins. Boker, you are now tied first on the all-time win list. Make sure your audio is included. I think it is already.
Yeah,
but,
it is.
first in the all-time win list with 7 wins. It took you 10 races. It took Riles 12 races to do it. It took you less races to do it. More dominating season. How would you look at the season so far heading into next week at Spa, where you could possibly clinch the championship?
Well, yeah, I faced 9 out of 10 podiums, I think. So that's well, but there's nothing really how I do it. It's just I just try my best to not screw up. I just capitalise on others' errors. I've had the pace as well. Yeah, and to do it in 10 races, that's really, really good. I expected
Now
maybe like
okay,
not
sorry.
many wins,
I
but
thought
you know,
you stop talking because I was going to talk about the VSC.
I that.
Yeah,
that was
the VSC, of course. I gotta talk about that though first, before anything else. The VSC, tell me about this though. A lot of people think that was luck, but you really got the VSC at the right time. Tell me about your decision to pit and the VSC coming out.
Well, I didn't get any strategy call and I didn't see DLS enabled, so I was like, I'll just do another lap. And then I just saw DLS enabled at the heck, and I was like, okay, well, I'm probably going to lose time here. And then I saw the VSC come out, I was like, oh, fucking dub. And then I saw it was ending going into the pit lane, but I was thinking that it's fine because I've not been able to lose time on the inters, so yeah. So basically, I just didn't lose the time that I was supposed to lose. So, and really, if that VSC, I won by 7 seconds, so I was like 3 seconds ahead at the thing. So I think I still could have won that race without the VSC, but it was just a bonus.
well, to be
Yeah,
fair,
I think
like,
it's a gap.
you came out 10 seconds in front of us. Or no, wait, how far ahead were you? He was like 7 or 8 seconds in front.
I was 3 ahead of Jack.
Yeah, I was ahead of Jack for a little bit, but then, yeah. And then, yeah, so you gained about 10, 12 seconds through that, so, yeah. I think
No, I did not. I gained like 3 or 4.
we did a test earlier on the lap where you're meant you gain 12 seconds or 15 seconds to the car in front, so.
Yeah.
The VSC didn't clearly help that, but either way, 7 wins now, Boker. 7 wins of the 10 races. Tell me about that. 10 races this season. You have 3 more to go though. So 7 of the races you've won. Tell me about that.
Oh,
Well,
it's more
6
to
actually.
come.
6 because 6 this season, but 7 of the last 11. Because I forgot about Abu Dhabi for a minute, but still 6 this season.
Yes. It could have been 7 or even 8, but you know, just things happen. So, but yeah, I'm just picking up the results that I need to get. Just, it's not all about wins. It's just about how your rival does. Like when you're just absolutely miles behind, you got nothing to lose, and so you just go for moves and maybe just spin out of them. But when you're not really under so much pressure, you can just you just cruising around, and well, you don't need you're just not under pressure. You can just race just fine. So that's, and then not really know what to say really, but yeah, just not really under pressure in the races, so I can just easily just I'm not like doing stupid moves. I'm not just like dive bombing from like 5 light years back. I just just take it calmly, and just if something happens, then something happens.
So a question about the Drivers and Constructors Championship. 61 points, I think it is, at the front of the field, something like that. Between you and Rappa Lucas. Something like that. Either way, the Constructors battle as well. 60 points between you guys. How early or when do you think you can win this? Because obviously the gap is pretty big now, but there's still 3 races to go with Belgium, USA, and Brazil.
Well, I think I can win the championship in Belgium, and the constructors maybe in USA. It all depends on Dylan. It all depends on Dylan. If he doesn't spin, then there's 2 fast Williams drivers just on my arse, and then if it does spin, then it's just 1 Williams driver. So yeah, I also think you should add another team called Boca to the Constructors Championship.
I should. What, the 11th team?
Yes.
Where would they be in the Constructors?
Take it from Cody's, mate. You take the weight off Cody's shoulders. Just do it yourself.
It'd be second in the Constructors, just behind Renault.
Oh. Wait, so you're saying you'd be ahead of Williams then, wouldn't you? So you'd be by yourself, you'd be second.
Well, yeah, I mean Williams has 13 points. That weren't from me, so yeah. Yeah, it's basically been Boca versus Rappa Lucas in the Constructors instead of Williams versus Renault, but you know.
Well, it's really 2 battles, DW versus Graham as well. I mean, it's more of that, of course.
Who's surprised Graham had contact with Sketty again?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Every single race without fail.
Something that happens, I guess. Something that always does. I don't get why it does.
Yeah, Graham did
Obviously,
a madness with the
Danny, you'll have to
undercut.
look at the storage, I guess, if that's the way it is deemed as fault. If not, who knows?
What
I
is
mean, it definitely looks like it
Graham
from
did
us, our point of view for sure. 'Cause
that
that's not
probably
the
was
first time
Graham's
they've
fault.
had that happen. I mean, that's not the first time. I mean, no matter what, that's not the first time that they've had that happen. Australia, Spain, they made contact a few other races, but didn't have it as bad. And then it's just this race. It's just like you and Rappa, you and F1 driver Rappa Lucas. So it's just continuous. You can't get away from each other. That's
Well,
just
I
the way
mean,
it goes.
I didn't absolutely violate F1 driver's existence into a barrier the last time I checked. I just sort of spun him out. But
Yeah, no, I don't get. Either way, though, congratulations on the win, though, Boker. Milo, do you have any questions for Boker?
So, what was your decision behind switching to the medium tyres then? Were you just better be safe than sorry, or?
Well, I just decided to time everything when I think DRS was enabled or disabled. So switching on to the inters, that was just when DRS is disabled. Nothing really different there. But when it came to the guys, I didn't get a strategy call, so I was just thinking to stay out. And when I saw everyone coming in, I was like, something's happened here. And everyone else has got a strategy call and I ain't. And then DRS got enabled, and yeah, it's just a stroke of luck really with the VSC. But whoever decided to just do that, then yeah, I love you. Whoever caused it.
Congratulations on the win again. And I think it's now time to go to Jack. Jack, just short of the win today. You led the laps. You led the laps that you wanted to lead the beginning of the race, but you needed to lead the end of the race, which you should be leading. But you weren't. Tell me about what'll happen and make sure your audio is included. Obviously, the speeding penalty affected your race, but tell me about your race in general.
Obviously, I made my moves at the start, getting up to first, past the soft drivers, which that was good. And then I pulled away a little bit, and the safety car kind of hampered my chances of getting away because I was like 3 seconds in front of Boca, and I think I was pulling by like a tenth, like a lap or something, just close. And then the safety car come out, and I was like, crap. And then I got the speeding penalty by 1 fucking mile an hour, that pissed me off. And then yeah, if I didn't get that penalty, I could have had a chance of winning, but obviously I have to ball job it like Polo or something. So it happened in Britain, now it's happened here.
How are you violating my boy Polo? Damn, you can't be violating Polo like that.
Oh yeah, there you go, boys.
Poor man's gonna watch the interviews and think he's just being absolutely bullied. Oh, this is unacceptable behaviour, honestly.
I mean, right now, he's
Yeah,
just
that was
complaining
just
about me
really
winning
annoying.
Yeah.
Oh, who the
Oh
fuck
shit, we're
ready
going to a
up?
game. Oh my
Fuck's
god!
sake!
What's going on?
Fucking hell, Polo.
Oh dear.
Ugh. Yeah, I've been robbed twice now, so obviously that's annoying, but
Was it armed robbery?
any
Was
kind
it-
of robbery.
I see. Just robbery.
Yeah. So, and then the virtual safety car came out, and that hampered me as well, with Boca getting in some good luck. But yeah, good race. It was just I just had to mess it up in the
Oh,
pit stop.
I'm spectating as well. Sorry.
This is the actual race, boys. No, good luck.
Is it really?
Yeah, the other one was just practice. The
Come on,
win
boys,
doesn't count.
do you have
Null
any
and
stuff
void.
on?
Yes.
Soft tyres actually, because it's 25%. They just changed the rules. So come on. Stop. Get out. Who's that?
Oh my god. But so the speeding in the pit lane obviously costed you. You looked like you had probably the pace at the front of the field when you led the race for the most part. Then when Boker passed you, you couldn't really get back to him. Obviously you chose the softs at the end. Was that the better strategy, or did you want to risk it in case?
Well, I wanted risk. I got the strategy call to go on mediums, but I said YOLO and go on softs. I'd say I was catching for the first bit, and I was like
Then your tyres died.
trying to stay, like catch up with him, but at the end, it just tires dropped, basically. So,
I almost set the fastest lap on mediums in the last lap. That felt good, like that. Yeah,
Well,
you should have won that race. Well, maybe Paul could have, but you know, it's a shame.
Yeah, Jack.
You drove
I
well.
gotta ask then. Like Boker just said, you drove well. You probably could have won this race. You know, you have the final 3 races: Spa, USA, Brazil. I looked at your USA time trial. I know this is gonna make Boker trigger, but you're faster than Boker.
What's
In
his time?
general. You could go look at it. I don't remember.
Oh, they'll
I
probably
thought
use some sort of
30.5,
excuse for that. Oh, I didn't try.
Yeah.
Or something like
Yeah.
that.
But regardless, Jack, considering you're faster than Boker already at USA time trial, and you have 2 races left, you have shown the pace of him in the most recent races, compared to the first 2 races you came in here. Tell me about the chances of beating Boker, because in GSR Bahrain as well, you contended with him for the win, back and forth between you two, but he got the better of it and he won the race. You didn't that time. You didn't today. So then, where do you look into the future races? Because you proved you can beat Boker, you proved you can contend with him, but you proved you can contend with him, but not beat him. When do you beat him?
well, obviously I don't want With the penalties at Britain, that messed me up, and today with a pit stop, I can contend with Boca, like I've done in many races, like Britain and today and in GSR. So like, hopefully in the next races I don't mess it up, so I can like improve my chances of like getting win. So I really need it. Like I've been in the podium two more. I've finished oh, it's just annoying really. So hopefully I can get that win with some kind of luck. So yep.
I'm just looking at time trial now.
Oh my god.
I'll set like a. I'm not USA short. I'll set like a 30.5, but somebody that doesn't appear on the leaderboard, so you know.
Oh, there you go. There's your cue. No, I'm just kidding. But still, I've definitely I gotta congratulate you on that because you're looking for a win pretty soon. I want to mention something else. Felipe, who looked like he had the chance to beat Boker a few times, didn't. He obviously isn't here anymore. But the thing is, I just want to mention, like, you are now looking at that guy who's like Felipe, who has the pace or chance to beat him, but just doesn't get it done. I feel like that's kind of the way it is with you now, where Felipe had the pace to do it, had the chance to do it, but never could just do it, never could just finish it off. And that's kind of what I think of it, in my own opinion.
No, in France, he was just fine in my DLS.
You're actually getting
As soon
compared
as I
to
was out,
ARL
I was
Felipe.
gone.
I would not have that if I was you personally.
Either way though, congrats on P2. Milo Gaming, you should go to interview
Milo Gaming.
Team leader.
Oh.
Finish P2.
Oh, so before we start, Milo,
That was
I'd like to.
6-6.
Do you want to announce your resignation, or do you want me to do it?
Whoa, hang on a minute.
No, I'm joking. Yeah, continue.
Well done on P3 for a start. I'll do the typical polo thing to do first before trying to think of a question on the spot.
have voice
Yeah,
crack.
congratulations.
Congratulations
Did you-
on P3.
You sort of followed a similar sort of race to how it was in Britain. You just sort of stayed back and finished on the podium as a result. Is this true?
Yeah, basically.
He wasn't talking to you.
Oh right. Oh.
Would you like to interview your team leader, Rapalucas? Oh, Jack.
Hey,
Yes,
I'm
this
here.
question must be for me. Well done.
I'll take your 18 points if you want. We can switch in that department if you want.
No, I'm chill.
Oh, you're chill.
Yeah, I just think, to be honest, it's just a lot of you need to think a lot of the time that for example, you just need to kind of, I don't know how to explain it. It's just sort of like be careful and then take the points when they become available, because people like F1 driver, DW, fast guys who just haven't had the results this season because they haven't hung back when they should have. They haven't thought about a decision. They've just gone for it, and often it doesn't work. So, just sat back, waited for my opportunities, made 2 overtakes, and yeah, those are all the overtakes I needed to make to get 3rd place. So, it's all good. That's it.
James throws a bird out of a car.
Is PPB here?
Do you have another question or what?
No, I
I was
don't.
waiting. So I want to bring a short view back to the past.
Oh.
Back in this race a year ago, you spun out of the last turn.
I got
Obviously,
taken out,
it was
man.
very cloudy. Okay,
Fam,
well, still,
ABS
you spun out.
ABS
No matter what,
job.
you spun out. No
No,
matter what, you spun
ABS
out.
job
Okay.
smacked my bum.
No matter what, you spun out. You spun out. Okay.
No, you got
No matter
spun.
if you got hit or not, you got
I
You
got
spun out.
spun. I didn't spin.
Okay, you got
just-
spun
just-
out.
just-
Whatever.
Thank you very much.
Well,
I,
now you got spun off the last corner, and basically, that didn't help your race. That you got farther back
Yeah, not
and
at all,
recovered
man.
back up to the front of the field. back to the front of the field towards 6th, and battle for that position late race after you had issues go on. Now, of course, in this race, you were sitting 6th, 7th, around there, came back to 5th, covered your way back up when you had the chance to do so, and you took advantage of what you needed to, and be able to get that gap not as far as ahead for Boker in the championship, so he doesn't clinch it earlier. Now, when do you think Boker will clinch the championship?
Oh, I don't care, to be honest. Just whatever.
You just qualifying soft to get pulled.
Yeah, I kind of wish I did now, because if I knew I was going to finish third, then, yeah. I really regret the decision now. The pole time was so slow. It was like an 11-1. So,
Yeah.
Oh my god, I feel so dumb now, because I probably should have qualified on softs, but oh well. Are there any races that are on mediums to the end of the season? I don't think so.
USA, you can qualify in softs as well as Brazil.
And same with Spa. Oh well. Yeah.
Just
Well, obviously last season my internet didn't do me any good either. But yeah, I don't know. Whatever. It doesn't really matter. As long as I keep up the good points, and as long as I just keep doing my best and getting good finishes and enjoying the races, that's all there really is.
Now I want to bring another short review back to the past again. Spa, you didn't race last season as well. USA, you were on the podium after a post-race penalty. Brazil, you were on the podium as well. You look back at those 3 races, Spa obviously didn't race, but USA and Brazil, you kind of took positives off those after you had the wing damage in those races, took podiums. How do you look into this season then?
Well, obviously Spa is probably one of my favourite circuits. It's very good for overtaking, because obviously you have the big straights, and obviously heavy braking zones. But yeah, in terms of America, yeah, not really very confident. Probably going to invalidate every single lap in qualifying. And then yeah, Brazil, just whatever, should be alright.
The championship.
Yes.
60 or so points now. I know you talked about last week, Dylan could possibly be gone from Williams. You gave him one more chance. He was running ahead of Boker at that time. Boker passed him. He spun out. What do you do to win the Constructors' Championship with Williams now?
Well, we don't win the Constructors. But, I don't know, whatever. Just, at the end of the day, I think, I know it's going to sound a bit stupid, I think friendship comes first, to be honest. I'm good friends with him, and I'm not going to switch him out. That's just, I don't know. If we still had a decent chance, I might, but come on, mate. We're like almost 100 points behind them. It's just a bit pointless at this rate. As long as,
Alright, so... Okay.
As long as we, he needs to keep building up his confidence. He's had a few poor races. Obviously in this one he got hit and then had an issue, obviously with the spin. But yeah, it's not a bad race. He out-qualified me on the same tyres, which is a positive sign. Hopefully, things to come. Obviously, I had quite poor quali pace, just didn't really put the lap together. But still, that's not the point. And yeah, just sort of happy to race. I'd say there's only positives from him in this race, apart from the spin. Everything apart from the spin was, positive.
I was gonna say, since the next season is coming up, you're probably gonna be team leader again, from what it looks like. Obviously, nothing is gonna be decided just yet, of course. With who goes where, what happens, nothing's really gonna be decided just yet, of course. But I've gotta ask, DW's qualifying pace has been really, really good. He's been ahead of a lot of more people than he's probably been ahead of before, a lot more often with his quali pace. His race pace, though, has been decent, but not as good as the quali pace, and he makes the mistakes he does. We've seen it so many times. Austria from the lead, he was beating Rizone and beating Boker. Today he was ahead of Boker, and where was Boker going on to win the race? But when Boker passed him, he then spun out. So, how as a team do you help each other get better and be able to challenge for the next season? And just in general, because DW has obviously switched to off traction like we mentioned before, and
Just
he's just
meme the
not
party,
had
really.
the mistakes that he just had the mistakes he's had, and how does he not have the mistakes he's already had, and how does he change it for next season?
Well, I mean, he has stated. Sounds so formal. No, he obviously is quite. He's a little bit disappointed with himself. Naturally, I mean, he's had a couple poor races, but I think he's definitely motivated to do well. He did practice a lot today, which I haven't seen from the previous weeks, and so that is progress, I guess. So yeah, we're just moving forward, and yeah, hopefully things sort out for 2020, and yeah, he's just got better pace.
Well, congratulations on another podium again. Hopefully it
Cheers.
continues to a podium streak. I'd like
Cheers,
to
big
see
man.
that, but either way, Milo, about the race again, I want to talk about it. Similar conditions and similar race with the way it gone to Germany 2019. Every time we saw the DNFs, it'd always be two drivers, Danny Skeda and Graham, and then Corey Marshall and Axe. They gone back and forth. It was just back and forth between a lot of drivers making contact, and it's that one area, the backstretch area, heading into the hairpin, the one area where XR Ryan spun yesterday. What is it about the DNFs we had today, Milo?
Yeah, obviously, a lot of drivers for a start benefited in different ways. We saw Mr. Boker eventually winning through his genius pit stop under the VSC.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a no-brainer, really, but genius. Yeah, we saw a surprising amount of collisions. I thought we'd see a little bit more sensible driving, especially on the straights. We saw Danny and Graham colliding once again.
I
was funny?
feel so sorry for Graham. He did so well on the undercut.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he came out in
Also, just
7th.
With Dylan, he should do like 50% things just to, like, he's good in quali, he can help it the lap, but he should do like 50% just like races just to really master off traction at certain circuit. Like, it takes time, and like, just pretty gay because he's sweating the game, but like, if he really wants to learn off traction and just not spin all the time, then he's just gotta do that.
We saw, of course, Milo, the back and forth between that podium spot, just like last season. It was P4 of last season, and it was going to be for podium spot until AMS Tax disconnecting and ABS Surf kind of holding up that pack of cars behind him instead of catching up, which obviously helped Tax more better to get the podium. But today we saw that battle for the podium for P3 the whole race, really. We saw back and forth. We saw the midfield battles as well. Jebel AMS Ubik in his first start, Rundle up points, Rizone from P20 up there. The stuff we saw today, how do we see it in the future? And I felt like this was, in my own opinion, I felt like this was one of the more competitive ARL races in my own opinion, because we had comers and goers. We had guys up at the front of the field, we guys at the back of the field. We had back and forth action. So I feel like this was one of the more competitive races, but how do we see these races get better and better in the future?
For a start, less collisions.
Keep it dry.
I mean, the weather wasn't really
Nah,
much of a
the
factor,
wet
to be
was
honest.
good.
Dry. Oh, kid. Just do a kid, Keep it dry.
At least
What, you
one
saying-
more part would be wet at the end of the season.
You saying they don't jizz?
Oh,
No, that's weird, shot.
Okay, anyway. Just the multi-car
Fun.
collisions need to, just in all tiers generally, just kind of take away and just deny us of some extra laps of proper racing, because we get the safety cars, we get the old change in strategy. But overall, that wasn't too bad.
Oh, it really wasn't.
I think it was
So
great. Though.
then we go next week into Spa for Tier 1, Mexico for Tier 2, Mexico for Tier 3. What do you expect there for the lower tiers, Milo, for Mexico first off? Then we'll go to Spa.
Yeah, Mexico is another low downforce track. and hopefully it'll be a better qualifying as well with drivers trying softs instead of just one run on the mediums as well. It's a very tricky first section. It's very easy to lock up a front tyre and just run someone else off the circuit, as we saw with the likes of Hamilton, Verstappen, all going in there. The past few years in general has generally give us some action in the first few corners, but as well the track limits, it'll be hard, I'm sure, for most tier 2 drivers to keep it within the white lines in the S section. And then of course the stadium section as well, where overtakes can only be made if your name isn't Danny Kvyat.
Russian music played.
There's Danny as well.
Nah.
But
There is a
either
Danny
way, yeah, there's a Danny. Yeah. Either way though, Spa for tier 1. Quickly, how do we look at that? Because obviously we know how Rouge can be, Radeon, whatever you want to call it, and obviously, I believe it's Puan, those two corners. I don't really know the corners of the track, so I should probably get a mapper, get some glasses, but I should be able to find that out later in the week. But you know, Spa, we see the crazy action we saw last season, the battle for the win, DW and F1 driver. You know, they've not had good seasons this season. How does DW come into this race and maybe try to win it this season? Because he lost off of penalties last season.
Yeah, well, for a start, it'll be a good start if he doesn't spin at turn 1, because he doesn't like his hairpins. Not saying that as a Williams driver.
This just turns into a roasting session of DW.
It does, but it's the truth. He needs to, I know he's good, I know he's good at Spa, but...
I mean, you had a
For one of
42
his
six to be fair, which is
yeah,
decent lap.
I know it's one of his better circuits, so this is his one opportunity to prove himself and have full faith in the druggie. Oh, sorry, I mean Dutchie.
Is this
Yeah,
the W161?
In my own eyes, I think this is... Okay then, who's getting yelled at in the background? Yeah, that's what I thought. Either way though, I was gonna say, I think this is his last chance to win a race or even get on the podium. I mean, he's not even been in the podium this season. A race winner from last season. Same with Tax. They've both not been in the podium. So a lot of things change and a lot of things are different, of course. So, next week, Mexico. Tier 2, Tier 3 go there. Spa goes to Tier 1. Catch us that weekend. The podcast is later this week as well. We'll have to see who joins us. We'll have to see what goes on there. So make sure you guys tune in then, and you guys have a great day.